Hello trucker family, Kevin here with the trucker side, back with our weekly video with the loads we book or the loads that some people book for themselves. The work that we do and we're proud of. Thanks everybody for watching. Share it with others, please. Again, share your loads with us. If you're doing better, we love to hear that. If you're not doing that good, we can help. That's why we're here. That's why our community is here. I am going to start off with Omar. I do want to say again that Omar is booking his own loads. He was off the road for a while, just got back not too long ago. He's a regular in these videos, so I want to do a shout out over here because he's doing a great job. He's driving these loads, he's booking these loads, he's doing all this work by himself. Good job, buddy. You're doing great. Maybe take it a little easier. You're making everybody else look bad, but thank you. Thank you. Here we go. Omar had 4 loads this week. He's hauling a reefer. Started off in Vincennes, Indiana, going to West Jefferson, Ohio. 280 loaded miles, paying $1,400, $5 a mile, 43.5 thousand pounds of dry goods. Second load of the week is a 1-pick 3 dropper, picking up in Canal, Winchester, Ohio, going to Villa Park, Illinois, Arlington Heights, Illinois, and Chicago, Illinois. 385 loaded miles, 32 empty miles, paying $2,000 for the average of $5.19 per mile. 36.5 thousand pounds of beer, temperature set at 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Third load of the week is a 1-pick 2 dropper, Hobart, Indiana to Johnstown, New York, and Shorak Landing, New York. 806 loaded miles, 41 empty miles, paying $5,150 for the average of $6.39 per mile. 40,000 pounds of frozen food, temperature set at -10. These multiple drop loads with a reefer, for those who know, I'm not going to say anything else. Who knows what this is about, they know. And then the last load of the week, this pay is only going up, by the way, so wait for this one. New Berlin to Quakertown, Pennsylvania, 205 loaded miles, 122 empty miles, paying $1,500 for the average of $7.32 per mile. 41,000 pounds of yogurt. Trailer needs to be pre-cooled and maintain the temperature at 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunday to Sunday, 7 days of work. Omar grossed $10,050 for the truck for 1,676 loaded miles, 195 empty miles, totaling 1,871 miles. I want to say this again, $10,050 for 1,871 total miles. That's a total of $6 on the loaded miles and $5.33 on the total. Very good job, man. Very good job. I can only say good job. You're a beast. Next off, we have David. David is hauling a dry van, ran 3 loads. Started off in Kansas City, Kansas, going to Boise, Idaho. 1,369 loaded miles, paying $4,400 for the average of $3.21 per mile. 42,000 pounds of grout. Second load of the week, Jerome, Idaho to El Paso, Texas, 1,089 loaded miles, 116 empty miles, paying $2,465 for the average of $2.26 per mile. 41,000 pounds of non-fat dry milk. There was $65 in detention over here, hence why the rate. And then the last load of the week, Santa Teresa, New Mexico, going to Seneca, South Carolina, 1,543 loaded miles, 12 empty miles, paying $3,700 for the average of $2.40 per mile. 43,000 pounds of dry goods. Friday to Friday, 7 days of work. David grossed $10,565 for the truck for 4,001 loaded miles, only 128 empty miles, totaling 4,129 miles. For the average of 264 on the loaded and 256 on the total. Excellent week for David. Great job, great solid effort for David and dispatch. You guys are doing great. Thank you. Next off, we have Reginald. Everybody knows Reginald who's watching these videos. He's a regular. Good job, Reginald. Had 2 loads this week. Started off in Lake Mary, Florida with a 1-pick 3 dropper, going to Evans, Georgia, Laverne, Tennessee, and Belton, Missouri. 1,346 loaded miles, paying $2,850 for the average of $2.12 per mile. 36,000 pounds of beverages. And do remember, this load came out of Florida. before you get too rough on people. Second and the last load of the week, Carthage, Missouri to DuPont, Washington, 2013 loaded miles, 123 empty miles, paying $5,650 for the average of $281 per mile, 41,000 pounds of bed springs coiled, not compressed. Monday to Monday, 7 days of work, Reginald grossed $8,500 for the truck for 3,359 loaded miles, 123 empty miles, totaling 3,482 miles for the average of 253 on the loaded and 244 on the total. Good job, Reginald, just like every other week. Every week, not every other, sorry. Good job, dispatch. You guys are doing great. Moving on to the next truck. Next we have Tariq. Tariq had 2 loads this week. He's hauling a dry van. Started off in Tifton, Georgia, going to Salt Lake City, Utah, 2,054 loaded miles, paying $5,400 for the average of $263 per mile, 43,000 pounds of textiles. And then the second load of the week, Salt Lake City, Utah to Olive Branch, Mississippi, 1,557 loaded miles, 5 empty miles, paying $4,300 for the average of $276 per mile, 44,000 pounds of miscellaneous grocery items. Monday to Sunday, 6 days of work, Tariq grossed $9,700 for the truck for 3,611 loaded miles, only 5 empty miles, totaling 3,616 miles, for the average of $269 on the loaded and $268 on the total. Excellent job for 6 days of work, solid work for everybody. You guys are doing great. And then the last load of the last truck of this video, we have Dan. Dan has been with us for almost 10 years. Solid guy. He also does maintenance and compliance for us. Doesn't drive all the time. We just got back on the road and got straight into the video. Shout out to Dan over here. You're doing great, man. Welcome back. Welcome back on the road, I guess. Had 5 loads this week, out of which one was a 1-pick-3 dropper. He's hauling a dry van. So he definitely put in a solid effort over here. First load, picked up in Pasadena, Texas, going to Lenexa, Kansas. 731 loaded miles, paying $2,100 for the average of $287 per mile. 5,600 pounds of car parts. Light load, nice. Second load of the week was the 1-pick-3 dropper, picking up in Edgerton, Kansas, going to Valley Falls, Kansas, Council Grove, Kansas, and Dexter, Kansas. 291 loaded miles, 23 empty miles, paying $1,600 for the average of $550 per mile, 16,000 pounds of mechanical components. Another light load. Nice. Third load of the week, Wichita, Kansas to Muskogee, Oklahoma. 225 loaded miles, 64 empty miles, paying $1,200 for the average of $533 per mile, 45,000 pounds of paper. Then the fourth load of the week, 4 out of 5, Fort Smith, Arkansas, going to Dixon, Tennessee, 462 loaded miles, 69 empty miles, paying $1,350 for the average of $292 per mile, 43,000 pounds of sand. And he did not haul it with a dump truck, he hauled it with a dry van. And then the last load of the week, Glasgow, Kentucky, going to Denver, Colorado, 1,156 loaded miles, 132 empty miles, paying $4,300 for the average of $372 per mile, 40,000 pounds of food product. Monday to Monday, 7 days of work, then it grossed $10,550 for the truck for 2,865 loaded miles, 288 empty miles, totaling 3,153 miles for the average of 368 on the loaded and 335 on the total. Good job, Dan. Welcome back to the road. You did great. Dispatch did great. Nobody can complain about this. There's really only good words to say about all these things that these guys are doing. I want to show my appreciation for everybody who's putting in this work, everybody who is watching these videos. This is Kevin with the Trucker Side. Thank you for watching this video and have a great day.